Yo, 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 I'm back with another lovely video here. Holy shit, what did I just move? I know this looks like a scattered mess. Let me move to existing panel below. No, wait, that's not what I wanted to do. Shit, sorry guys. Move to new panel below. There we go. All right, so if you guys aren't familiar, this is TradingView app. And if you want to learn a little bit about how I figure any of this shit out, I got a video how to trade stocks or something about American Airlines. That's probably your best bet to watch. Maybe get TradingView app and, pull it up and do some of your own testing here. So basically, this is Dow Jones. And the reason that I watch it, I don't personally trade it. But the reason that I'm watching it is because it's, I'm invested in a couple different stocks, obviously. And, when you have downside from Dow Jones, like we had here, your stocks and everything like that are going to be huge to pay attention to the movement of Dow. So I've been running Dow since, March. And, that's when I first actually got into trading stocks, was down in, down in like this range here, or maybe it was down here. Actually, it was down here. Was this March? March, yep. So I got trading into stocks around here. So I've been running this thing for a long time. I did expect a pullback somewhere up in here, but obviously we got into back into this channel here, and we continued up, and we've been doing excellent for some time now. Now where we are now is, whether or not I'm going to perceive this as a bull flag or a rising channel, I'm not sure. Now, as you see here, we did over here in January 5th, we had a great run up. We tried to catch support on this trend line that we've been rejected for some time. And, we've been trying to get above it, rejected. Came up, thought we were catching support, had a fake wick down, couldn't catch support, came back up, got back up in here, created bearish divergence here, and then we had a big tumble. Now, we did catch some amazing support on something that is extremely healthy, in my opinion, although I'm still on edge a little bit here. This is the, not TD sequential, sorry. TD sequential. This is the Ichimoku cloud here. So we caught perfect support here, which was amazing to see. And we had an amazing run up. Now we have some short-term bearish signs, longer-term bullish signs, but, it's a little up in the air for me in general. So when this white line here that I have on the Ichimoku cloud crosses above the purple, we get a big fucking pump. Now the price targets I have for this thing is pretty incredible, but there's a few warning signs here we have to be cautious of. So if we look at this daily MACD here, we actually look like we could, and these things can fake out, but we look like we could get a bullish cross here, which is a massive buy signal. Now, the scary part about the Dow right now, in my opinion, is on this RSI here, which, this is all speculation, and a lot of things can happen here. But if we look at it from this view here, I was kind of hoping that we would get a close somewhere up in here, personally. But, if this was perceived as a left shoulder, this was the head, then this ends up being the right shoulder. In order for it to be a right shoulder confirmation, it would have to close below this line here, because you have to have a close below the head of the, the head of it. So, what we would want to watch, come on, sorry guys. What we would want to watch for here is, sorry, Sean, now you're on my video. What we want to watch for is a potential rejection in this line here. But if we can get above it, we can break this neckline here, and we can actually have a nice pump here, maybe, find support on this line and continue up. Now, of course, the RSI doesn't always go up into these fucking high areas. And as you see in the past, this area that right here, this area right here is a potential rejection point most of the time. Now, that doesn't mean that if we come up to this line and we crash back down here at that given time, that doesn't mean it's down in the 26,000s or 30,000s areas. But depending on if we get a nice big daily pump here, we could actually come up to 33K. And when we get rejected here, come back down, we'll, whether or not the RSI is down here or wherever it is, that could only be at 31,100. That's our biggest point that we want to hold on the Dow. So if this is going to be a breakout here, which it's hard to say for sure at this given time, because right now potentially we do have this bearish. Do we have bearish divergence here? We do potentially. This is what I was a little nervous of, is if we have bearish divergence or not. So if we look at this dotted line running across, we actually don't have bearish divergence, which I was a little nervous that we did. But you see, we closed here, lower on the right than this wick here, or this body close, because we don't go by the wicks really, we go by the body close, at 31,197, and we closed here at 31,143. So we are lower on the right, which is what I was getting a little fearful of, because when we were at 31,197, we were up in this range, and at 31,143, we were down here. So if we close at the same level as we were prior, and we were down here, that would be bearish divergence. But at the moment, we don't have that, so that's a good thing to see. You can see we're rolling over a little bit on this 4-hour RSI because people are a little nervous, because 31,100 is a key area. So, whether or not we have a small pullback and then we fucking blast up, even this small pullback could be to, let's see, if we had a small pullback at all, whether or not we decide to hold this level, which I want to see us hold right here before, blasting up, but we'll see how it turns out. With the few signs that I have, it looks like this actually could become a bullish breakout here. So I don't know if this red line means anything, but let's see. This could turn into some type of inverse head and shoulders potentially. Obviously, we have to be cautious because we don't want to double top here, and that would send us back down. Oh yeah, that red line did mean something. Whoops. I guess I'll just add this green back in. What this red line for me is the potential of, although this looks like a potential rising channel, or it's hard to say if this is a rising channel or not. Kind of looks like one. But if we were to actually, maintain in here, that would be fine by me, as long as we don't break any of this line, because if we do, then we don't have support anymore until down here. As you can see on this Ichimoku cloud here, all of our support on the Ichimoku cloud is riding in this lower area here at this given time, which is right here. This red line here is huge resistance, but can be turned to support. As you see, we couldn't turn it to support here. So if we do come back down at all, we could catch support here, which to me looks like, and I'm not saying I'm expecting it to, but if it does, I want to see it hold 30,519, and then we could create some kind of big W in this sense, and that would be actually amazing, because when you have a W and a bullish W, you want a bear trap like that, and then you want to come up like this. So when you have a lower on the left, higher on the right W, that's a fucking monster thing. Usually when you have lower on the right, higher on the left, it's not as bullish unless you get this bullish divergence, which, you can see this W here, we had lower on the right, but it still ended up blasting up. So, that could be another type of, in a sense, a bear trap. This is the, let's see if we have anything to explain right here. Extremely bullish W right here, lower on the right, lower on the left, higher on the right. That's fucking huge. So you can kind of look at that here. So, I have some scary ideas, and I'm not trying to get too fucking bullish on this, because one thing that I'm looking at that makes me nervous is this kind of action here, this choppy action here. there's something in the stock market called the distribution phase. So when the stocks end up like this, you're actually letting a lot of people sell. It's giving, people are bored, sitting there, and you end up getting more sellers. So it does cause the correction, which is fine, because sometimes when you're continuing up, you want to get these massive corrections. And as you see on this daily RSI, getting that correction is a good thing, because you come way down in this lower range here, and in these lower ranges, and that's actually a good thing to reset the RSI. So that was actually a great thing to have happen. So whether or not it does that again, if it does, like I said, you have a couple different areas. You have this area down here, which would be a double bottom of this, and then you have all the support here that you want to see hold in this area. So, there's a couple different scenarios that can happen. We can actually go into a insane bull market here, which, if we see this top blue line is based off of this back in this area, this high here. So we do want to see it test this line, and I believe it will before any type of pullbacks. But if we break this line, we have blue sky breakout for the Dow Jones, which is huge. But it's definitely scary times right now, because obviously, when you're dealing with these type of highs, it gets a little nerve-wracking, because at any given time, this thing can come back down in this range and lower. My analysis here, and I'm kind of watching big time for something like this, is that it's potential that we get this choppy action with this crash, and then we get more choppy action. And I don't really want to see that, because that would be too similar, and not that, things that happened in the past relay exactly what's going to happen again. I know I didn't say that quote correctly. There is, stock market often rhymes, but it doesn't. Shit, I lost it. Sorry, I'm trying to sound like smart over here. But anyway, I can't remember what they say. But needless to say, this right here was choppy action. We had this dip, and then we get more choppy action, then we had this big dip. So that's what I'm saying right here, is this choppy action here, even though it's a smaller version of on the left, but we have this choppy action, we have a dip, and then if we get this choppy action, that could be a potential dump. I like to look at both scenarios here. So as much as I am feeling very confident that we broke back into this, and we're actually coming up here and testing up here, let's look at the weekly right here. So on the weekly, we have the spinning top, and, on the downside ideas here, we had that red TD9 flash on the weekly back in that range, and we did get a correction from it. We have a spinning top, which usually does insinuate downside, but if we look at the monthly here, another thing that is a little concerning, but it could not be, is that our next monthly is a 9 flash. So if we look at the past here, we had a 9 flash here, and then we had 2 extra months of bullish action, and then we dumped. And, what I was told, though, on a 9 flash is that when you get a 9 flash, it usually insinuates a correction. But when you get a 9 flash in the weekly, in the monthly, it actually insinuates strength and more upside. Obviously, it doesn't always happen, so it's hard to compare this to the past. But we did have this monthly red TD9 in 2 extra months and then a crash. So it's possible that we do the same thing here, where we get this red TD9 flash and then 2 extra months of bullishness and then a crash back to this level. And whether or not we go lower, that's hard to say. Obviously, I can't tell you the future, but this action is it's nerve-wracking for sure when you're in a lot of these stocks, especially if you've started buying in these all-time highs. On the 4-hour, our next candle here, come Monday, is a TD9 flash. So this makes me wonder if this is going to actually end up emming out, if it's going to consolidate up in here, which would be amazing, or if we're going to get another pullback here and potentially hold this line down here, which would be very, very bullish. like I said, we look like we could have a daily MACD coming in as well. So even with a small pullback here to reset some of this RSI, whether we get support on this green cloud or we come all the way down here to this red before going up higher, that would be, a bullish case scenario. Do I want to see it hold 31,100? I definitely do, because as you see, when we fall below it, we do have a pretty gruesome correction. So, I know it's like, oh, it could go up, could go down. Yes, that's kind of where we're at right now, is it could go up or it could go down based off of this here. So we want to see this hold. So maybe we'll continue up. Maybe we'll ignore the red TD9 flash. Maybe we'll continue up a little higher here and then get a correction down to this level and then decide what we're going to do from there. That would be the best case scenario for me, would be seeing something like that. But a pullback to this 30,700 wouldn't be terrible. I would rather see it hold this level, though. So I'm kind of watching this to see what's going to happen here. But when you get this white crossing this purple, which we got, that's why I knew there was a pump coming when we were around here. I saw this white curling up. So we did get this cross. We got this nice pump right here with some good, volume. The RSI looked great, everything like that. And now we're getting this potential 9 flash right on the breakout. So that's the only worry point for me. So I'm up in the air here, but this white looking like it's going to cross the purple on the daily could give us a very fucking good sign. So I guess what we could do if we do get a pullback on the 4-hourly is we could draw our line right here where we've been respecting. And if we do that and we do get some kind of pullback here on come Monday, then we could look for this 30,800, which lines up perfectly with this 4-hour Ichimoku cloud just about. Would we get a nice red candle right here? 30,800, that's 30,900. We have 30,000, almost 30,800 here. So, there's a couple different things we need to take a look at. So, like I said, I'm kind of like neutral right now, but I am really wanting to see us get above here. So I guess if we were going to have this correction here, we would have to look at this as a rising channel, and let's see what the breakdown actually would be if we had a breakdown here before going up higher. Then you would go from the width, or the widest part of the channel, and a breakdown below 31,000 would actually bring us almost to this red line at 30,500, which, like I said, is still going to be bullish if we hold that. So I'm okay with that happening. And that should reset the RSI. And then now we're making a higher low versus here we could not hold this red line. So, there's a couple different scenarios we can watch for. But I'm just keeping this shit on my radar because it's going to tell me if the stock market is going to continue in this uptrend or if we're going to have a pullback. The tech stocks and all that are looking strong. They all look like they're ready to break out. So that, to me, kind of insinuates that we could actually continue up here. So I do want to take into consideration that if this was a bull flag and not a rising channel or anything, your measure move out of here would actually be from this pole here, which brings us for a 34,000, almost 35,000 Dow Jones, with the exception of this resistance here is going to be very big, 33,300, and that's based off of, like we talked about, the old all-time high here before we dropped. So could we come down to that, up to that 33,000, get rejected, come back down, test this 31,100 as support, then continue up for another attempt? Very possible. So this is all a lot of information on it, but there's so many different scenarios that can happen. And I'm excited. I'm not even in this thing, and I'm excited to see what it's going to do, because it's going to prove to me what's going to happen for the next year on the stock market. If we get a close somewhere up in this range, dude, this is fucking huge for us to be in a massive bull market for another solid year before any big corrections. So, a lot rides on this. But anyway, this is a long-ass video. I know I ramble and talk a lot, so I hope you guys learned something, liked it, and hit the like button, share with your buddies, subscribe to me, and, you know, leave any comments or any of your ideas if you liked any of this. If you agree, if you disagree, I don't care. Hit the dislike button if you didn't like it. But that's about it, guys. All right, peace.